Okay, so the thought for today is God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. And that comes from the Bible. It comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. So why did I want to talk about this verse? Well, recently I've realized that there are so many potential possibilities in my life. And for the longest time, I was just trying to work out what God wanted me to do in my life. Like I was reading Master. Shoot, I just dropped my Kindle. So I was reading Mastery by Robert Greene, and he was just kind of talking about how your purpose is something that is very specific to you, and it'd be a huge shame to miss out on kind of your divine, unique purpose that only you can carry out. And so I was just really confused for the longest time because it was like when I chose my course and when I chose my university, I was super confused. I wasn't sure if God wanted me to do that. I wasn't really sure. I was just kind of choosing it out of like a compromise. It was more of you know, a desperation mindset rather than an abundance mindset. And so therefore last term and also just the beginning of this term, just this past year, honestly, I've just been very confused about if God wanted me to be here, if he wanted me to do this course, if he wanted me to be at this university, and if he did, like how, what he wanted me to do. Like, was it maybe he just wanted me to be here for a short time so that I could do something else and then drop out? Or, does he want me to do the whole course? And so I was just had a lot of confusion in my head. And as a result of that, it really affected my studies in first term. And so recently I've really had to figure this out because I don't want to get behind again in second term. Like I felt like I was getting behind in first term. And yeah, I just realized that God is not a God of confusion. Like if he wanted me to do something else, then he'll make it very clear to me. He'll make it very evident to me that I should be doing that. And I shouldn't be, hypothesizing or guessing. And you know what it is a lot of the time? A lot of the time it's just that, you know, a lot of the time it's I'm lazy. I don't want to put in the work for my course. I don't want to, I make all sorts of excuses like, oh, I was never really interested in engineering. And so therefore, I don't want to try all these types of excuses. Um, and that comes from a very arrogant place because honestly, I should be very grateful that I'm at this university. I get to have this time alone studying this course and have the time to do other things like work on other areas of my life. And, not many people can have the same experience that I'm having right now. Um, so that is one part of why I wanted to talk about confusion. But the other thing is, there's just so many scenarios in life where if there is confusion, then that means it's not from God. Like that is such a fundamental, sound truth that can be applied to anything in life. Like if you are confused about something, it is not from God. For example, the most obvious application of that is in relationships. Like if there's like a spirit of confusion in a relationship, like when you meet a girl and you talk to them, but they make you confused. Like they don't know you don't know if it's like right, if you don't know if um yeah, it's just like a vibe. It's just a vibe. You can just kind of you're just not really sure about the relationship. like a romantic relationship, um, then it's probably not right, because God is not a God of confusion. Um, and and it's so interesting because when I feel like when it is God's will, even though there could have been the potential for confusion in certain situations, there is never any confusion. It's so interesting. Like when you if you think of a scenario with a person you're supposed to be with, that God wants you to be with, and there's like sort of a confusing scenario, but you don't feel the spirit of confusion. Like you don't feel, confused deep down inside in your spirit. And I think that's a pretty, you know, I guess I wouldn't say it's 100% like sign from God, because you have to test every spirit, right? Because Satan comes as an angel of light. Like he knows that you know that fact, so therefore he could play that card against you. Um, but I think it's a good sign to say that God is, God wants a relationship to happen. So yeah, that's the other interesting thing about God not being a God of confusion, um, but of peace. And so many times it's like, oh, I can't really hear God when I'm asking him for confirmation, but I feel a lot of peace in doing something. And I think that is a very good indicator that God wants you to do what you feel peaceful about. So yeah, speaking about what I'm doing now, is I've realized that I have to be grateful for the situation I'm in. And honestly, I just need to work hard and just get my life together and just work harder, because um the situation I'm in, I can't take for granted, and I need to be happy about putting the work in. It's such a third world problem, like complaining about university. Such a grateful problem. Like I'm so grateful I have that problem. But yeah, that's the thought of the day for today. Um, let me know your thoughts, and see you in the next one.